All right, we're recording now. Thank you everybody for coming. This is the Building Standards Commission Board. Today is August 14th. It is 6:02 p.m. and I guess the chairman wants to call this meeting to order.
Yes.
We'll start with roll call. Mr. Alan Jackson, here.
Present.
We need to call the meeting to order, and somebody has to second it, please.
Okay, I have a motion.
Let's
A
call the
motion
meeting
to call
order.
the meeting order. Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Same sign, motion carries. Proceed with a roll call.
Thank you. Mr. Alan Jackson Jr.,
Present?
Mr. Albert Lowry,
Present.
Mr. Rolando Perez,
Present.
Mr. Chris Haynes,
Present.
and Ms. Teresa Fonseca.
Here.
Thank you. So Chairman, you have a quorum?
Thank you.
I guess we need to move on to citizen comments. If anybody, before we have any citizen comments, citizens are required, well, we're not required, we've already gotten the information, but I gotta read this out. Citizens are required to fill out a witness card and submit to the Building Development Services staff no later than, it says 5:15, so it's 6:15 to identify themselves. We've identified everybody that's present. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No more than 3 persons will be allowed to speak on any side of the issue. Should there be more than 3 people wish to speak on any particular issue, they need to select not more than 3 representatives to speak for them, and the presiding officer may limit the public comments further in the interest of an orderly meeting. Speakers may not pass their minutes to any other speaker. Comments should be relevant to city business and delivered in a professional manner. No derogatory remark will be permitted. With that in mind, we need a motion to...
I'd like to make a motion to consider the approval of the minutes for the meeting of July 23rd, 2019.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Same sign, motion carries. Staff report, Operation Crackdown.
Yeah, on the staff report, we wanted to bring up that this year it was a late notice that the National Guard did tell the city of Laredo that they had some funds to come in and demolish some properties at no charge if they meet the criteria. Currently, it's closed already for applicants, but there is 21 probable cases that are going forward. They're still not, I think in the next week and a half, the National Guard is going to approve. The applications have been submitted. This year they did ask for extra things, so it got a little dicey. But, so there's 21 properties, and so I wanted to bring up the committee on that. On another note, there were some previous items that were already brought up on these items, some of which were trying to participate, I want to say, into the Operation Crackdown. So, again, that only qualifies if it's residential, if it's got some nexus and several other requirements to be able to qualify for the Operation Crackdown. With that in mind, there's still, I think, another 10 cases that are moving forward that are not on Operation Crackdown through the city. So, standard that you guys have already heard on. We're pending posting for bids already. Since everything's already been done from the end of staff, we're trying to get bids in to get these properties to demolish. So, as far as staff report, we're here to try to process. We got a lengthy meeting, kind of 2 stacked up together on us due to last meeting. So I guess that's all I have on staff report. I guess item 6, we need to open up a public hearing. Again, remind the committee that we'll have to do a public hearing first open, close a public hearing, and then you can introduce the item to do any action on it, possible action. With that in mind, we can, I need a motion to open up item 6.
Make a motion to open up item 6, public hearing and discussion, possible action regarding the demolition of structures identified as substandard and dangerous buildings.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. First item is consideration of possible action on the property of Delia P. Perez, whose legal description is Lot 6, Block 153, Western Division, commonly known as 1701 Hidalgo Street. Staff declares this property to be a nuisance in accordance with the the current adopted ordinance of 2013-0025. Article 1, Section 24-1.4 of Chapter 16, Sections 16.55(2), 1, 16.55(2)(2), 16.55(2)(3)(a), 16.55(2)(3)(b), 16.55(2)(3)(2)(hi), 16.55(2)(3)(2)(r), and 16.55(2)(3)(2)(u. Staff recommends demolition of this property. This customer is from out of town, or not customer, I should say, this owner is from out of town. They requested a phone conference. Do we want to open a public hearing and see if the property owner, if it's up to the wishes of the commission?
Yes, I make a motion to proceed with a phone conference with this with this property owner.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
You need to dial 9, and then the number.
I don't know this.
If it's, what is the name?
She's a doctor.
Delia.
Laura Cremar. Creamer. Yeah, hello?
Ms. Kramer?
Yeah.
My name is Roland Lozano. I'm with the city of Laredo. I am the liaison for the Building Standards Commission. You're here on speaker with the commission as requested. So the commission is listening. There is going to be a motion to open up a public hearing so you can speak on this. I just wanted to get you on the phone first.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so commission, I guess we need a public hearing. We need to have a motion to
Make a
open up
motion to open up public hearing
for, okay,
for A.
okay, so,
All in favor?
okay, motion's open. Okay, anybody wishing to speak for or against this? Go ahead, Ms. Kramer.
Okay, so I can speak?
Yes, right now the item is consideration with possible action on the property of Delia P. Perez, whose legal description is Lot 6, Block 153, Western Division, commonly known as 1701 Hidalgo Street. Staff recommends demolition of the structure. Are you the owner of the property?
My mom is the owner of record of Delia P. Gutierrez,
Okay.
and I'm her daughter.
Okay, you're wishing to speak for or against this item?
No, I'm speaking that we have taken the action to take the demolition forward. We're going to take it forward.
Okay, so you're gonna wanna demolish it, and do you know what kind of time frame?
I know I had sent to Mr. Orozco an email that within 2 months, if anything posed a problem within those 2 months, and then it would delay it. But for right now, I see that it would be within 2 months. That's my estimate.
answer any questions.
It looks like there's windows and stuff that can be penetrated, so they work some way they can at least close that up with plywood so people can't get in there.
The question that is being asked is can it be secured in the meantime?
Well, I mean, if it's not something that is required, no one ever told me to do that. Like, for instance, how would I go about that, or what?
Can I talk? Hello, Ms. Kramer. I'm Annabelle Ramirez. I'm the housing code official. What you need to do is just have them put some plywood on all openings, doors, but it has to be screwed on, not nailed.
Okay.
Doors and windows.
Doors and windows.
Okay, I know we had it, I'm sorry, we had attempted that, but obviously, whoever, homeless people or whoever they are, they've managed to break, however they managed to do that.
Yes, we understand. But can you try since you're requesting 60 days, and if the board agrees to it,
Okay.
they are requiring for you to secure it, and the best way to
Okay.
secure it is to have them screwed instead of nailed. Would that be
Okay.
No evidence on that.
Okay.
And now, anybody else want to say something? Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, anything else?
Sure. Okay, so if it takes more than 60 days, what happens? What is the procedure after that?
The decision is the commission, they can move forward. Our process, if the commission decides to move forward today on demolishing, it still takes a time for the city to process a demolition order, post it in the newspaper, and legally another 30 days to be, give the owner a chance to reply to that. It needs to be posted in the newspaper. And then even if in those 30 days there's still no reply, we would need to go out to bids. And if by the time we're ready to go out there, if the property's already been demolished, this process can take, a good, just the bidding process is like 5 or 6 weeks. So there's time. The commission can move forward to try to demolish, but the idea here is the nuisance doesn't go away. So if anything
Right.
happens, it's still there, and technically the owner's still liable for anything that may happen there, any illegal activity and things like that. So
Okay.
even if the commission moves today to demolish, there's still time before it actually gets processed. That may be ample time for you if the commission wishes to give you the 60 days and then move forward. They can also choose to do that as well, and that process then starts from that time. So
Okay.
it really is up to the board here, the
Okay.
commission at this stage. So, but right now, we're just, anybody that wish to speak for or against, we're opening it up. I don't believe anybody else is here for that property, so is there anything else that you're planning with that property or at all?
I'm sorry, Tom.
Is there anything else you want to tell the commission right now?
Not at this time. I mean, just the fact that I don't live in Laredo and it's just a little bit more challenging for me. But, that's an agreement that my mom and I made about going forward with the demolition as far as us taking it. And, of course, if the board is okay with that. But, that's all I want to say is that, it's a little bit more challenging for me since I don't live in Laredo.
Okay, so I guess,
Motion to close. Make a motion to close. Is that all you have to say?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to make a motion to close the public hearing.
and introduce the action, or
Second.
whatever. Second?
And I'd like, aye.
Everybody in favor?
I'd like to make another motion to allow her the 60 days in the meantime to secure it the windows and doors and allow her the 60 days to demolish it on her own. Otherwise, we will take further action to take demolition matters into the hands of the city.
Okay.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the commission voted to give you the 60 days. Within these 60 days, you must obtain a demolition permit. It's a $50 fee at the building department.
Asbestos.
We would require part of the demolition and asbestos report. To make sure that since this house is probably over. There's 3 structures? Okay, all 3
Yes.
structures, okay. So,
And by when?
if you had it, yeah, after the 60 days, we can bring it back to this. If it hasn't been, we'll go back to it. But you'll have 60 days, and even if it comes back, we'll advise you prior to the meeting.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Kramer.
thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Make a motion to open up number B.
Motion
That's
to,
good.
Second. All in favor?
okay. Consideration with possible action on the property of Garcia Gonzalo Jr., ETAL, whose legal description is Lot 6, Block 803, Eastern Division, commonly known as 219 South Loring, it's supposed to be South Loring Avenue. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the adopted ordinance of 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24, 1.4 of Chapter 16, Sections 16.5521, Sections 16.5522, Section .5523A, Section .5523B, 16.55232HI, 16.55232R, 16.55232U. Staff recommends demolition of this property, and to give you an update, this property has already been demolished by the owner. We went by it today.
Good.
So this has been done, so,
So what does that mean with us?
well, as far as this, it came to the, we had it on there and they did it on their own, so they've taken care of what they needed to be. There is no nuisance, so
Great.
We make a motion to close this item?
that's correct.
Is there anybody here to speak on behalf of?
There is nobody here on behalf of this property.
Oh,
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm the owner.
Did you already demolish it?
It's been taken care of a little bit, but I'm working on it. I'm like about 3/4 full. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
What is your name?
I can, Gonzalo Garcia Jr., right here.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah,
Okay,
you
good.
can
I didn't know you were
declare,
here.
you can declare it taken care of, because I'm working on it right now. I just wanted to go in and still come over and let you all know.
As far as staff is concerned, we've determined that most of the nuisance has been taken care of. There is some debris there that still needs to be cleaned up, but as far as the property, the nuisance, there is no structure standing.
Fantastic.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Motion to close that item, move to number C.
It's,
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
In time, motion carries. Now,
Consideration of possible action on the property of Rita Ramirez, whose legal description is Lot 8, Block 1964, Eastern Division, commonly known as, we put it as 3207 Travis Street. Mr. Juan Ramirez is here. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance of 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4 of Chapter 16, Sections 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.55232H, I, R, and U. Staff recommends demolition of the structure. This is a public hearing. Anybody wish to speak for or against? Mr. Ramirez, go ahead, you have your,
I am the brother of Rita Ramirez,
okay?
and but first, let's not judge the book by its cover. I would like to, I try to set up for the inspector to go and inspect the building, but we didn't get in the address, because I know that's 3220 East San Jose, and we didn't get together in the address. They came out on the computer, but we didn't get together in the address. And I had shown them, I already had architectural drawings, the procedure to repair it. I would like for the inspector to review it, and I'll go look at it, and then we'll take it from there. And if you tell me that it needs to be demolished or whatever, then we can go ahead and demolish. The thing is that we can do there is, it's a lot more simpler to take apart than, I don't know if you guys ever put together a shed from Sears, one of those arrow sheds. This one's only nailed, the sheet, the corrugated, it's only nailed to 2x4, so, I mean, if you give me the 60 days, if the inspector says we can't rebuild it, or depending on what he tells me, I can peel the whole thing, It could come apart and then, start again. Put everything, the wood new, and start it from there. I would just like for the board to take that into consideration, and if I can have the opportunity just to get the inspector out there and give me at least about a week so I can mop and clean and have him inspected.
Is there anything else you wanna, all right, so you're asking for 60 days?
Oh, well, I was asking for if we could get an inspector first, if that's possible. If not, I could go ahead and start, like I say, I could start peeling all get the permit that I have to get. If the inspector said, you know what, you gotta go ahead and demolish it, or, peel it and then restore it from the, from the bottom up.
So, do we want to close the public hearing?
These pictures you're taking about almost 3 months ago?
Well, let's go ahead and, we need to close the public hearing before you discuss.
Oh,
I think no, or did you want to keep the public hearing open?
The public hearing is for us to speak and they to speak.
yeah.
So you want to, so go ahead. Ms. Ramirez is the building inspector as well as code enforcer on the
Housing code
residential.
official.
Can it be,
Mr. Ramirez, this structure has been there since I started my career with the code enforcers as a substandard inspector.
Yeah.
And it has been like that about 15 to 18 years. I red tagged it back about 15 years ago. I was told that they were going to replace it and remodel it. And I said, okay. We went to the board and we said, okay. Right? It's still the same, it's worse now.
Yeah. The thing is that it was fixed because it used to be Lakeside Auto Glass, and then it was they sold it was a JBR aerial thing. But then I don't know if you remember that typhoon that hit Laredo, that it overturned trailers and all of this over there by San Jose. And it took the roof off.
It didn't have a roof.
No.
When I did it.
But I'm saying that
tagged it.
before that, it did have a roof and it took it off. I want to do things amicably, and I'm stating, and I'm here to represent that property, to put a face on that property, and you have my phone number, and I am going to take care of it.
Well, I don't doubt you will. I'm just saying that it's been 15 years, and we were told that 15 years ago, and it's still the same.
Well, the thing is that a lot of things happen, and a lot of personal grief that we had to go through with through sicknesses and stuff, and we're coming out, finally getting out of a lot of compromises or
Yes, I
that we
understand.
have. So we're getting out of that. So we're ready to get it, get things done, but I wanna, I don't wanna touch anything until, because everybody always says, you gotta get a permit for this, get a permit for that, get a permit. Well, I wanna get the permit, I don't wanna be over there doing and putting scaffolds and this and that, and I don't have the permit.
And
Can it get fixed?
And I understand. He would have to hire an engineer to see if that break is, because.
No, the brick's gonna come off. That
Okay.
brick is coming off.
And-
I don't want the brick
You know,
there.
this is the problem, and I'm gonna be very honest with you. We have the alternative school on the Mandanos, where they send the children that are misbehaving, about 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
That's open.
And you know what, I wanna say,
We have to be careful, because these are children, they're teenagers. And it's wide open there, and it has a place to hide.
and I wanna say that I've had no problem with them. I really had no problem with them,
We've been
and,
lucky.
of any sort.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. No, thank you very much.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
You're asking for a little time, but what exactly would you, if you got a permit tomorrow, what what is it gonna ask and what are you gonna do to remedy?
Well, first, I would like to first get the inspector out there, like I said.
The inspection's already been done. What would you want to do to
Okay,
salvage it?
I would like to go ahead and take the brick off and peel it, so I could go ahead and replace all the wood that's in the inside. And probably, I don't know if I would go with wood, I would put purlin and square it, and start putting the sheet metal. I already have the sheet metal for the roof. I just need to get the permit, and then I wanna, my daughter, I'm very happy with Cigarroa High School, because they have a lot of welding, and she got a certificate in welding. So I wanted to talk to Mr. Villarreal, that is that I know him there, that he's a teacher there. I would be more than honored if they could make the rafters for me. I buy the material, they need to practice, a certified welder is gonna check their welding, and they would make, I just need like 3 rafters.
May I say something? I'm the building official. That building does not look south. There's nothing you can do.
Part of the permit process, Ms. Ramirez, was as mentioned that it would need an engineering
Okay.
plan.
You can probably save
That would
the
be part of the
foundation.
permit process.
You'd be better off by taking it off, starting over.
It's
Now,
because
we don't have to demolish for you to do it.
I would
But
say,
it's been 15 years and you've been given plenty of time. And so what keeps us, or what led us to believe that something's gonna be, and I think the board would wanna get some type of commitment before they make that decision to
Okay.
continue allowing it. Because based on that, that's gonna cost you, dead as an architect, trying to repair that, you turn it off.
the wood is definitely out of question. That's
Yeah.
water rot, yeah,
That's the only thing that's holding it together.
That's right.
Well, the only thing that's holding it together is that it has, what do we call it, the oil fuel pipe. Is that oil fuel pipe, that pipe is very strong. That's what holds the structure. I got one pipe that's been right there, but I already talked to a friend of mine that is, they've been welders since, I don't know if you remember the Arizola's welding shop, and he already told me we can make a shim. Well, I would probably,
Let me ask you on the pipe. Was it ever painted? Or is it,
yes.
is it rusted? The pipe?
well, we can, that,
Because
let's
it's
get
been
the engineer to
exposed.
go ahead and inspect it.
It's been exposed to the elements. My recommendation would be give him 3 months or 60 days. But if he doesn't do anything to it, demolish immediately. And no, they don't have to put it in a public place. Once they vote on it, immediately no letter goes out. We start looking for bids and demolish it. Once they vote on it, it's voted on and that's it.
Do we need to close the hearing?
Yes, now we need to
We're
close
gonna
and
look at
introduce. Yeah, it's a,
Make a motion to close the hearing.
I second.
Excuse me, may I? So he's given 60
Yes.
days?
No, not yet.
hold on, it's still a proposed,
Okay.
we need to close the public hearing, and then the commission will
Fine,
speak.
fine, thank you.
Okay, so motion was by Rolly Perez and Mr. Jackson. Second, all those in favor? So public hearing has been closed and introduced, so now, yeah, we can close the interviews.
I would propose this, is that we go ahead and proceed with the demolition. It's gonna take some time. If in the meantime, he can come to us and say, hey, look, here's my plan, I've got the engineers, I've got certificates, todo, I'm gonna do something, we can then pull it. But giving more time with that nuisance and the school so close by, they can get inside that structure and God knows what else can happen in there. It's been that way for 15 years, nothing's been done. Why give them more time? Let's go ahead and start the process to demolish. I think it really needs it. And if he can come in with time to say, here's what I've done, well, we can decide not to demolish. Or give him more time once we see action. Because waiting and let's see if something happens, because that hasn't happened in 15 years.
May I ask
That'd be
a
what I
question?
propose.
May I ask a question?
Well, the public hearing has been closed. So that's a recommendation. Is there a motion?
That's what I would propose, but I don't know if that, if the committee
It's
wants
still,
to-
it's still in discussion. It's not a, it's not a motion yet.
motion.
It's still a discussion, so.
Any motions or any other ideas?
Staff recommends demolition, so I guess we should go with, have him 60 days on it, on what he wants to do with it.
So I'm saying,
Yeah,
I would
go
demolish
ahead.
now, and if he comes up before it gets demolished with a plan, and assurances that it's gonna get done,
You do it
fine.
yourself, you can.
Because the
Well, the thing is,
process,
what I wanna do is for sure, as soon as I fix it, I wanna have insurance.
just to remind the commission, the process is, even if you vote today, it's still going to be at least 6 weeks before we can
Exactly.
start demolition. So, you're looking around that time that he's already asking almost, because we would need to post the demolition order, put it in the newspaper, give him another 30 days, and then then it's the 5 to 6 weeks process to get a bid out, get a contractor, award the contract, that kind of thing. So,
So that process takes more than 60 days to begin with.
Exactly.
so they already get, I mean, I'm just reminding the commission that that's what, if you do decide to do that, they already basically are getting more than 60 days.
Yeah, so I would get the process in motion now, demolish, and if in between, before it actually gets done, he comes up with something, we'd sure listen to. I would
So
think.
Laura, is that a motion?
I'll make the motion to let's follow staff recommendation for demolition.
Exactly. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same sign, motion carries.
Okay, so even though the commission voted to proceed with that, they still, we would need to get a demolition order come in and have the chairman sign it, post it in the newspaper, give another 30 days by law to the customer to come in, and if they don't come in, then we start the process of demolition. That takes usually 5 to 6 weeks to do that, so you get your 30 days plus 5 to 6 weeks. If by that time you don't demolish it, then the city can obtain a contractor to go demolish it. And then a lien would be placed on your property
Yeah.
on the cost of the construction plus
I
10%
understand.
interest.
I really,
I would encourage you to go get the permit,
yes, sir.
as soon as, we could go do an inspection, but I don't know if we're gonna inspect nothing different than that. All we're gonna tell you is you need to do something. We need to bring us plans, a scope of work of what you're going to do. And we'll review it, and we'll get back with you. If we see an effort at that point, and you have the money to start, the moment you get issue permit, you can,
This process can halt.
Okay.
and that will be at the next meeting, which is 30 days from now.
If you don't mind me asking, as I'm progressing and I show the improvements of the work, with what, with photographs, email, or how do we?
Plan review would suffice.
Well, if you come in and get a permit to construct and you've been approved a permit, the process stops.
Okay,
The first thing that you.
Okay? And then you would need to call in for inspections for the city to go out there and inspect whatever it is that you're going to.
so it's all there at the planning, right? At
Yes, so if you go at the
That's
building
right.
department and obtain a permit, this process stops.
The first permit is a demolition permit.
Okay,
So that's what you're gonna do anyway.
yeah, I have to peel
Do
it,
it.
for
So
sure.
you're gonna have to knock it down.
Yeah. Well, I call it peeling because it's just like all corrugated up and all of it is just gonna be unnailed.
And the wood, no, unnailed and the wood también, ¿no?
Órale, está bien. Pues muchas gracias y gracias por su paciencia, it's been an experience.
I'm sorry?
What did you need to know?
No, I was gonna ask, if you give him the 60 days, he will be able to do what he has to do.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's already been done.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Perfect.
God bless you.
Entertain a motion to open item.
Motion to open item B.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consideration of possible action on the property of Shani Raj and Kish Manwani,
One.
whose legal description is Lot 7, Block 638, Western Division, commonly known as 2607 Saragossa. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-025. The Article 1, Section 24-1.4 of Chapter 16, Section 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.55232HI, 16.55232R, and 16.55232U. Staff recommends demolition of this property. This is a public hearing. Anybody wish to speak for or against the item? Mr. Wright?
I'm the owner of this property.
Okay.
Well, one of the owners, and what happened is, there's another partner also involved in it. So what we did is, we have gone to court, because I wanted to sell it, he doesn't want to sell it, he doesn't pay the property taxes, I've been paying the taxes. So finally, it's gone into litigation where we are allowed to sell it, and it's a process. Ms. Becky Palomo is the judge on this case, and I have taken action because my partner, Mr. Kishmanwani, right now, he says he does not know anything about it, I don't know anything about it, but I took action. I went to Ms. Palomo and I said, I need to go into the property and start cleaning it and because he was not doing nothing about it. The other thing is, we already have, like, Ms. Becky Palomo says, okay, it was very, very dirty. Now you can go and it's totally clean at our expense, because like I say, the other partner doesn't want to spend even 1 penny on this. We bought it at the auction, and the property was sold to us as is, where it is. It was already in bad shape. But with the time, what has happened is, the property has also, needed to be taken care of. And since I was putting money, finally we had to go to litigation and court. So the court has said, okay, you can buy him out, and therefore I'm able to sell the property. We have a potential buyer, and we have been upkeeping the property. We just finished talking to the city. I will try to make efforts last week to go there, and I've also gone proactively there. I was dealing with another department on this property. I did not know that I had to deal with court department or something like that. I was talking to Mr. Orozco today. However, he's saying that the property, that notice were sent. I had never received any notice. I don't know if Mr. Manwani, which is the other partner, received it. And if I had known that, I would have brought it to the judge's court, because it has not.
What is your mailing address?
Mine is 317 St. Julian Drive.
Do you have any proof of
Julian.
any
Yeah, it's on the
judge's orders?
So,
There's a court case going,
Yeah.
they tell me the contrary. They say they want something from you, where you're giving me this action so I can turn around and sell it. I've already paid, I've already made the judge wanted, saying, okay, give us an offer, and the offer has been approved, but Mr. Manwani is not very, I don't know if you know him on a personal level, is not an easy man to deal with. I've been all these years paying the property taxes, he hasn't paid 1 penny back. So going back to answer you, the judge wanted me to get something from you guys, on the contrary, that this property is in bad shape. So I showed her, I wanted to take them this, But this is all I have received so far, and I took action, and I had also been there last month and the month before, and I also went this month, on August the 6th. I had made an appointment, they told me go and see Mr. Orozco, but I made several attempts that day, and I was not able to see him. I went the next day also to see him, I'm not able to see him. The three ladies in the front, one was her name, they would just tell me by the first name. One was Vivian, the other one was Miss Sandra, and then there was a third lady. So I tried morning, I tried in the evening, and I tried in the afternoon.
Sir.
I've been very proactive to try to get as much as possible.
I also work in the office, and I only saw you once, you were putting out some plats. But as far as us sending you that letter, we send it to the address on the tax roll. And it's a responsibility to have an address where the letters get to you. Now, as far as the house being cleaned, we passed through, Mr. Lozano and I went yesterday, and it's full of tires and debris. So when did you clean it?
We got it, just signed off on it by another department, we're talking about.
Code enforcement, sir.
Yeah, and they told us it was approved, but you should have seen how it was and now what it is. And also we go and take it to the landfill whenever we can. I'm a heart patient, I don't have, like, I have to work on limited hours because I go and supervise it there because I try to pay people and try to get them work, and when I'm not there, things don't get done. So
Sir, I'm sorry to hear about that, but it's your responsibility as a property owner to keep it up to par and up to code. We have a church a block away from there. Children go to catechism. All of that area is close to the river, and you have children there. It's not acceptable to have three structures like that open and with full of debris.
I have a question. How long have you owned this property?
I own it for more than 5 years now.
In that condition, was it in that condition when you bought it?
What happened is Mr. Manwani just put a renter there and he was doing illegal business there, and I told him, and then on top of that, he was not even paying us taxes. So that's why in 2016 or something, I take him to court because we were not getting anywhere. So he was renting to a person with, I had no say, and
How did you get that letter?
I received this letter in the mail.
So you do have that address?
But I just got this letter yesterday.
That's his mailing address.
Yeah, I did get this letter yesterday, and today immediately I talked to Mr. Orozco, but I also was dealing with Mr. Felipe Aguilar. Mr. Felipe Aguilar, he says, go to the code enforcement also just to make sure that this is not in the list of the demolition, and they never told me that there was this property in the list of demolition. But now today I got from Mr. Orozco this list, and not only that, there's two other properties. One where this gentleman, he bought the property from me, and all three properties have already been taken care of and sold by somebody else. But this is another property, this is not Saragossa, this is another property that this gentleman bought from me. Which I was informed today by Mr. Orozco that, but I've been, I gave this gentleman, for example, in this case, I gave this man some time, I told him 6 months or a year to have it free, so he doesn't have to pay me anything. On the contrary, what he did, he started fixing it so he can have some allowance. He's a contractor, he's a construction worker, but he bought it for himself or for his family. What he does with the property, that's up to me. But to my surprise is that the property had been taken care of for over 1 year, and I've gone to see the property and it's in good condition.
You have two houses.
What is the intent of the use of this property? What are you intending to do?
I told Ms. Becky Palomo that, Judge Honorable Jackie Palomo, that I want to be able to sell it, and she told me you need to bring me an offer. So what happened is Mr. Manwani and I am not working, so what happened is she appointed somebody, a third party, so we can come to an agreement. I paid him, but Mr. Manwani is not easy. So what I'm trying to do is sell off the property, but I still haven't got the sign-offs. So let's say there's a buyer who wants to buy it, he said, but you know, why isn't Mr. Manwani signing? It's very difficult. So eventually, I have hired an attorney, and eventually the case has not been closed. So my intention is to sell it if I get the sign-off from the judge.
And if you don't?
Staff recommendation?
Demolition, give him 60 days if nothing happens.
Make the motions.
Hold on, we're still in a public meeting.
Sorry.
We can discuss, I mean, I'm just saying, so the intent is to sell it and somebody else is gonna inherit this this?
No, somebody already knows of the condition, because what happened is, we have worked like how we work with this gentleman. We worked with them and told them, look, the properties, I'm 50% owner, and I want to sell you the property, and they said, okay, we have, they have.
So if you don't get from the judge, the go-ahead to sell, what are you gonna do?
No, the judge has already approved of it, said, one of you guys have to keep it, because exactly the judge knows that the property's in really bad shape. So the judge knows about it, and I did tell the judge that I want to sell it, and the person who wants to buy it, they're saying, if you sell me, if you get me both the rights, you know, like, then.
So what if your partner becomes the owner because you wanna sell and he doesn't?
No, that's not the case, because what has happened is, the judge appointed a middleman before we hired an attorney, because we have been going to case. So what happened is, this middleman, he's from our community, he said, will you go listen to me, will you be, I'll be the arbitrator, so he said, bring me the money, so I brought in the cashier check, so we're gonna resolve it by Mr. Manwani being paid off his half of the property. And Mr. Shaker, if I can get something, then he knows, he told me, just give me some time, because I was talking to him about that, saying, hey, now I got this other bigger issue, and he told me, don't worry, just give me time, and you will get paid. I've already given the cashier's check on this property and another one to Mr. Manwani. I have two properties that I have partnership with him that I'm trying to resolve. And I've already given it to him, all I need is just for him to sign off, but I was told today that he has gone on vacation, he's away, not on a cruise or something, so they needed more time.
By what date do you think the judge is gonna make a decision?
It's been more than 3 minutes.
And in writing, and give you an order that we can read and see?
The judge told me,
No,
bring me-
not told, but writing, that she signs off. Because otherwise, it's just verbal, it doesn't hold up.
No, it's not verbal, because the judge already ordered both of us to appear, and they said,
What date?
What's the court date?
she told us that he has like 60 days to sign.
When did she tell you that?
We were told that last week, but we were not able to talk to the judge, because she said, now since you guys have a hired attorney, so she could not, I had to deal with the court, there's a court coordinator or something like that, only I can deal with him, and that's what they told me.
So after 60 days, if Mr.
But you don't have that in
Manwani
writing.
or
So you give it to you in
Mr. Ra,
writing.
I'm sorry?
The judge didn't give it to you in writing?
I wasn't able to talk to him, because he says, you have an attorney, and the attorney has to present the
Did your
paperwork.
attorney give you that in writing?
No,
So it's.
my attorney, what do you call it, I have not told him about this yet.
Okay, so he's had 3 minutes.
Yes.
Do we want to close and introduce this item? Is there anything else you want to say to the commission?
Yes, if I had known, I would have brought you, what do you call it, the evidence that I paid off Mr. Manwani, we're just waiting him for him to.
What, Edgar, when did you mail the notice that you received?
30
May
days.
19th?
It's been more than 30 days, right?
Yeah, we sent,
So,
we sent a letter back in May, yes.
in May, we're in August. Anyway, so I guess we need to have a motion to close and introduce this, see what the commission decides to do.
So actually in July. I sent the letter in July.
You sent the letter in July,
July 16th.
July 16th. But it got tagged when?
It got tagged in
March.
25.
So March, the property was already tagged.
Yes.
So it was the responsibility of the owner to come into the building department since March to come in and try to rectify the situation. All right, well,
Make a
Close.
motion to close the public
Introduce.
hearing.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
okay. So what does the commission want to do on this? Do you want to do a discussion? What is it?
Staff recommends what?
Staff recommends the demolition of this property.
Go.
It's been, it is close to a church. It is very close to the river. There could be some, I mean, it's not very secure, as you can see. Transient people, or it's just.
Recommend for
And so
demolition.
staff recommends demolition of this property. Again, process takes, 30 days plus 5 to 6 weeks typically, right? So that's the staff recommendation. What is the wishes of this committee?
Make a motion to go and for demolition purposes. That's staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Mr. Lowry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Shanani, is that?
Yes, Mr. Lozano, but the thing is, I have been trying to do my due diligence, and I started already I go there on a regular basis.
If you are able to obtain a building permit or, you
Yeah,
know.
for demolition.
Yeah, if you're gonna sell it, you need to make sure you let the owner know that it's already in the process of being demolished, you know,
Bring documentation to the building department, and the moment we deem that you're gonna sell it,
but
but the thing is that whoever's selling it needs to come back, because we're gonna go back and
it can be rebuilt, right? I mean, if you can't sell it, what are you gonna do with it?
No, she's already taken the money.
If you can't, I'm just asking, because they already moved towards
Yeah, then,
demolition.
okay, I paid so much tax, I would rebuild it.
You would rebuild, you'd rather rebuild, okay,
Yeah, rather
other
rebuild.
than demolish.
Yes, and I would like to get 60 days so I can show you all that instead of.
So if you can't sell it in 60 days, you're gonna come back with a building permit and construction plans to actually redo it.
Yes.
Excuse me, once the board,
Yeah, they got
once the board voted on it, it's out of our hands. You have 30 days to appeal it, only 30 days to appeal it to them, not to us.
But they already motioned to move forward with the
But Mr.
demolition.
Lozano, the thing is, I have to go through the red tape with, going through the judge and all that. I can't just do whatever I want to.
It's still a nuisance.
Those are the policies, sir.
They have to look at that into consideration.
They considered all that, and that was a motion because of our recommendation. It's been like that for years. So, this item is closed. Let's move on to.
Mr. Lozano, can I make one more comment? I did try to
The-
get a hold of Mr. Orozco.
For this item, the item is closed, so we can discuss it at the building department with Mr. Pinzon, the building official, moving forward. And that way we can get this meeting in order. I would need a motion to open and introduce item E.
So move.
Mr. Lowry?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, other than reading through all this, well, let me go ahead and read it. It needs to be, on second thought, consideration of possible action on the property of Clen LLC, whose legal description is Lot 3, Block 190, Western Division Subdivision, commonly known as 1110 San Francisco Avenue. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted code, 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4 of Chapter 16, Section 16.55 to 1, Section .55 to 2, 16.55 to 3A, 16.55 to 3B, 16.55 to 32HI, 16.55 to 32R, 16.55 to 32U. Easy for me to say. Staff recommends demolition of this property. The thing I wanted before I was gonna read all that is the owner actually reached out to community development. This property preliminarily got approved for Operation Crackdown. They have been listed. Again, that is still up for, the National Guard to decide if they're going to want to do this. There's actually 3 structures, a brick in the back, and these 2. These have been there for a while. Staff is only recommending the one on the left. That one got burnt. Even though it's secure, it got burnt. And that one, we're not recommending the white one. The one in the back, what are we recommending? Or what are we recommending for that? It looks like an old outhouse or something like that.
Yeah, that one,
There's debris in there. But the one on the right is not in this item. It's a different address. It's 1112 something.
and it's okay.
And it's not in that, bad condition. As you can see, the property owner has maintained the property semi-clean. on the outside, trying to board it up.
We got burned.
It got burnt. And so, but we're still recommending for this structure to be demolished.
And it's met all the requirements for Operation Crackdown.
Right.
So,
Which
we like to
means
vote on
there's
it, despite, because something could happen.
They may not approve it.
Okay.
And so we would be voting on, or we're recommending you vote on this, just in case it
In
doesn't
the
happen.
event it does not.
That was also one of my first tags.
And another point to point out, the owner voluntarily wants that to be demolished. So if you're going through Operation Crackdown, the owner already says demolish it. So you can't go through Operation Crackdown if the owner does not voluntarily demolish. So,
Based on that, I'd make a motion. to
hold on,
close that.
is there anybody here that wish to speak for or against that property? Let's just close and introduce first. Or that way
I
we
move to
can,
close the open hearing.
Second.
okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr. Leonard.
I'd make a motion to follow staff recommendation and go ahead and recommend demolition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to open up item F.
Motion to open up item F, consideration of possible action on the property of Jose Felix Martinez, deceased, whose legal description is the south 37.44 feet of Lot 3, Block 701, Western Division, commonly known as 2208 San Enrique Avenue. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1. Chapter 16, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.55232HI, 16.55232R, 16.55232U. Staff recommends demolition of this property. Can we,
Is there somebody here for that?
is there anybody here to speak for or against
San Enrique,
San Enrique? No
this
comment?
one's already demolished, a part of it,
No, it's different owner.
the different one, but this was demolished.
So no,
So close and introduce?
yes.
Is there a motion?
Motion to close?
Motion to close?
All in favor?
Thank you. So what is the commission
The San Enrique.
decide?
Make a move that we follow staff recommendation for demolition.
Follow staff
Second.
recommendation.
Thank you, Judge.
All in favor?
Aye.
Same sign, motion carries.
So these are-
Motion to open up item G.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have to go back. And retake it.
Okay, consideration of possible action on the property of Sara G. Solis, whose legal description is Lot 10, Block 400, Western Division, commonly known as, it says 105 and 107, I don't know if we can move on this, it's supposed to be 305 and 307 San Bernardo. This is the, this is
San Eugenio is water,
San Eugenio?
it's water, lot 10, block 100.
Yeah.
San Eugenio.
This one has it's a little tricky because,
It doesn't have legally an address,
Web County no tiene address on it.
there is no
It's
address.
under- Actually, it's under San Eugenio and water.
It's just an intersection.
Yeah, it's actually,
If we
the
can.
address should be on Water Street, but we have the, okay?
The maps.
But actually, the commonly known address is on San Eugenio. They're little shacks that people rent out.
We're abandoned already.
They're in very bad shape. But that was your section.
Oh, that was the one?
Click on the first image.
Yeah, the green house.
Change the picture con
On la-
Yeah, there you go.
This is, again, I was gonna show the overall where, kind of give you a location. I mean, you can see the structure, there's a tree like leaning on it. So, let me see if I can get you a general location.
Anybody here to represent that?
No.
I think they're deceased. And the house in the front gets the one that we'll put us in next. There you go. Yes.
We're live.
It's this right here, right?
There you go.
Okay, well, I think the picture.
Kind of give you a general location, it's really close to the river.
It's a block away. It's
It's a couple blocks, yeah.
So no one's here to speak,
Nobody's here to speak.
so we can make a motion to attend public
Hearing and introduce the item.
introduce the item.
You hear a motion?
Yep.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear any motions for action on this property?
I move that we follow staff recommendation and move to demolition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And time motion carries.
Well, we need to get, no, we can go with the web, with a webcam.
Okay.
No, taking a lot, but it doesn't even have a lot of block.
It's always been a Southern Indian law.
So the motion was to demolish. The staff recommends.
Yes.
I second.
Push back, crackdown doesn't do that.
We have to call webcam and tell us.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
I saw like had the street number 107, does the US mail used to get delivered there? Do they have
At
any?
one time, people actually live there.
Yeah, because they have commonly known, and it's outside of Hayward, but the real address should be on water. Number one water, that's what it is. Number one water.
I don't get it, I don't make it bigger.
So we
Okay, it
passed
says an
that.
address here, 105.
105.
I can barely see it.
Yeah, 25 and then 107, but so
Yeah,
little shots.
Okay, so we already approved G, I said demolish.
Motion to open up H, item H.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's across the street.
Okay.
Motion to open. All right,
Anyone here to speak on behalf or against this property?
item 8, let me read it out to make sure we can close and introduce. Consideration of possible action on the property of Manuel Flores deceased, whose legal description is Lot 6, Block 84, Western Division, commonly known as 4 Water Street. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Section 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.55238, 16.5523B, 16.55232HI, 16.55232R, 16.55232U. Staff recommends demolition of this property. You guys have the paper in front of you. Anybody wish to speak for or against?
Motion to close public hearing, open.
A second comment?
All in favor?
Aye.
What is the wishes of this commission?
Considering staff is recommending demolition, I would make a motion to follow staff's recommendations.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to proceed to item I.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Lucio Morales is here to speak, and Mr. Ra. Consideration of possible action on the property of Corporation in Arnold Ortega, whose legal description is the south half of Lot 8, Block 242, Eastern Division, commonly known as 1705 Sanders. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, 0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Section 16.5521, Section 16.5522, Section 16.5523A, Section 16.5523B, Section 16.552322HI, Section .55232R, Section .55232U. Staff recommends demolition of this structure. Anybody wish to speak for or against this item?
Sí. Parte de todo eso que salió ahorita ya está limpio, ya no tiene eso. Por ejemplo, la parte de enfrente.
¿Enfrente de qué lado?
Por el lado de Sanders.
Sanders.
Sanders. En esa parte ya quité todo eso de ahí. Lo que me hacía mucho bulto esa parte de allí es que estaba arreglando un techo y mis niños abrieron la insulación y ve que esa se esponja bastante y la tuve que tapar con un plástico negro, que es lo que está ahí atrás. Nada más dejé las puras láminas que se ven abajo.
Sir, déjeme interrumpir de nuevo, pero muy pronto. ¿Estás hablando de esta casa o estás hablando de la sur de enfrente?
De esas dos, es en el mismo terreno.
Correcto.
Ok, nosotros no estamos...
Esa casa no está hablando de esa casa.
Okay.
El comité está hablando de la casa de la esquina.
Perfecto.
No. The thing is that property line is right here. Right here.
Right.
Technically, the roof belongs to them.
To the other house.
Okay. Y pues ahí
Sounds part of it.
para lo que es la casa de enfrente, ¿verdad? Tengo la lámina ya ahí, pues voy comprando las cosas poco a poco. Y las ventanas de esa parte también ya las tengo. Nada más pues como trabajo y luego...
¿Usted es el dueño de esa propiedad?
Sí.
De la
¿Y qué va a hacer con la casa de la esquina?
Pues la estoy reparando.
¿Y cómo lo está reparando? ¿Tiene permiso?
Pues lo que es la parte de atrás, que ya está muy feo todo eso, ya lo quité. Me estoy llevando la basura poco a poco. De ahí esa área nada más son las ventanas las que tengo que cambiar.
Pero no sacó permiso.
Pero una cosa es limpiarlo de afuera,
Sí.
y otra cosa es reparar la estructura. Lo de la estructura necesitaría permiso.
Ok, ahorita lo que estoy haciendo, como no tengo para eso, nada más estoy limpiando, estoy quitando todo lo que...
Lo que está diciendo la ciudad, que esa casa, estructura como existe,
Ajá.
no está en acuerdo con la ordenanza de la ciudad de Laredo.
Ok.
Tiene que los dueños tienen la responsabilidad de mantener las propiedades para que sigan el código, que sea habitable. Si el uso va a ser casa, no lo pueden hacer que sea para guardar cosas, tienen que reparar. Si no lo van a reparar, ¿qué es lo que vayan a hacer?
¿Usted es el dueño o el contratista?
No, yo soy el dueño, yo estoy comprando al señor. Estoy comprando al
So he's
señor.
not even the owner.
No, he is the owner.
He's the one.
Por
Está haciendo
comprar, por
contrato.
Yeah, there's
por
a deed.
estructura,
Sí,
There's a deed.
Le hizo un contrato a él,
es un contrato de compra-renta.
pero...
Rent to own.
Lo que pasa es que lo está
Can I see
pagando.
the contract?
Ya, lo está pagando, no lo ha terminado de pagar.
So, is it still your property?
No, it's under his name, está en su nombre.
Le
Nunca
di-
lo
le di-
hizo.
Se le dio un año para que él no pagara, para que él dijo, dame tiempo para arreglar. Pero nosotros venimos aquí,
Pero do you have the contract? We want to see the
no lo
contract.
tenemos con nosotros, pero sí.
Es que la ciudad, la razón que estamos preguntando, y no nos queremos meter en las cosas, la ciudad nomás puede hablar con los dueños tocante
Él es el
esas
dueño,
cosas.
ahorita
Si él es el dueño, entonces a él es la responsabilidad. Si usted todavía es el dueño, a usted es la responsabilidad. Por eso preguntamos, no porque nos queremos meter en la...
Él es el dueño de la-
Pero we need to know.
Sí, para que
Yeah,
sepa.
Mr. Haynes just mentioning that
The
the...
webcat?
Yeah, Webcat has Conrad Corporation and Arnoldo Ortega listed as the owner.
Both.
Mr. Lozano, eso está muy atrasado. Eso ya se hizo donde el señor Ortega ya pasó y ya nosotros ya se hizo con el webcam, pero se está tardando donde él es el dueño ahora. Y él lo acepta y él ha estado pagando.
Oh, just make a copy of this.
Yeah, it has,
This is a month old.
it has both of the owner.
411.
411.
Yeah, so.
¿Tú eres el señor Ortega?
No, Lucio Morales.
¿Quién es Ortega?
Ortega era la persona que dijo que no le interesaba porque como estaba la propiedad. Y dijo, no quería financiar. Dice, dile que me lo paga contado. Él dijo, no voy a comprarlo contado, lo voy a pagar después de un año que
Sí,
lo arregle.
sí.
Ahorita enseñan que nomás es, pues necesitamos que clarificar eso, pero...
I can go to webcam right now and see.
Website, they don't always update.
Well, they update after maybe 3 months. It's been
Yeah.
since 4.
It could be.
4 letters, yeah.
Do you have documentation that it is some, Mr. Morales' property?
Yes.
Do you have it here?
No, I didn't bring it on me because we were told.
But there is a deed from you to him.
Yes.
There is a deed
Yes.
recorded.
With a lien, or with a warranty lien or something, or what is it?
Yeah, but he's been paying, so
Deed of
I have
trust, is that what it's called?
Contract receipt.
Now, can I ask you a
Yeah.
question pertaining to that?
Okay?
He has contracted to his son, because I went one time to talk, he says, you don't have to deal with my son, you have to deal with me, so I said, okay, I'm gonna back out. Lo que quería decir que yo fui una vez a la propiedad y él me dijo, yo me encargo de la propiedad, tú no hables con mis hijos. Entonces yo le he dicho, ok, está bien, es lo que hemos la entendí en el momento que...
Lo que la ciudad quiere saber es la estructura de la esquina. Si se va a arreglar o se van, eso es lo que está, este es el caso,
Se va a arreglar.
no la otra casa en sí. Al
Se va-
techo
se va a
también
arreglar.
tienen que obtener un permiso,
Ok.
sino porque aquí ahorita están dándole la información aquí al comité este.
Sí.
El comité tiene la autoridad para decirnos qué es lo que se puede hacer. So, ¿para cuándo nos sabrá decir qué es lo que va a hacer eso?
Pues necesitaría entonces ir a sacar el permiso para empezar.
Vas a tener que sacar el permiso primero de Demolition, que va a ser el techo enseguida de la casa de atrás,
Ajá.
y lo que estás quitándole a la casa de enfrente. Ok, para un permiso de demolición necesitas el deed. Ahí sí necesitas, porque no te vamos a dar un permiso de demolición a cualquier persona. Si tú no estás ahí en ese deed, tú no te van a dar el permiso.
Ese es
¿A
un-
contra la ciudad o cómo?
Sí.
No lo entiendo.
En otras palabras, si no eres el dueño no te pueden dar permisos. So, tienes que presentar documentación que eres dueño, si no, no te pueden dar permisos.
Una escritura que dice
Ok.
que usted...
¿El papel que me hizo el señor de compra y renta sirve?
Sí, lo hicimos de...
Está,
y lo notarizamos.
está archivado con el condado,
No sabría decirle, no.
No,
Nada más hice-
no lo registramos, ni...
Aquí lo traigo.
entonces si no está registrado,
No está registrado.
If it's not registered,
entonces no eres el dueño.
no, porque
Hasta que no pagues a lo mejor y que se registre, porque una propiedad tiene que estar registrada con el condado. Si usted tiene un acuerdo con alguien para comprar y no está registrado el acuerdo, el otro persona sigue el dueño, hasta que no le den una escritura que usted es el dueño, porque a usted no le van a poder dar ni permisos, porque no técnicamente son los dueños. Ahora, puede obtener algo que le diga que el dueño está de acuerdo, que reparar o algo así, se puede traer, pero esa casa si la van a reparar,
Sí.
habitable, ¿sabe cuánto le va a costar? Y está listo y disponible para construirlo.
Para solventar.
Así como la miro, nomás el puro aire acondicionado, no está sellada la casa, ¿cómo se va a salir el aire? O sea, güey, los códigos de hoy en día necesitan que estar bien hecho para que no gasten en la luz, demasiada luz, porque eso es el código de hoy en día.
No tiene luz.
Entonces, todo eso necesita un electricista.
Están usando PVC pipe para la electricidad.
Hay muchas cosas que no está código. Todo eso le va a salir más caro para reparar. Por eso digo que a lo mejor es mejor, ¿sabes qué? Empiezo de nuevo. Muchas veces, pero no sé si quiere hacer eso. Los dueños son los que tienen la opción, pero aquí el caso es qué es lo que se va a hacer, si se va a mover para reparar o se va a mover para tumbar. Porque tiene que hacerse algo, la propiedad no está adecuadamente en acuerdo con el código. Le recomiendo que si va a hacer algo, tiene que ahorita decirle al comité, porque esta es la oportunidad que tiene usted para hablar, o alguien más. O los dueños tienen que, esta es la oportunidad. ¿Qué es lo que se va a hacer? Porque dueño.
Yo lo que voy a hacer, lo que quiero hacer es reparar. Ahora mi pregunta es, ¿el contrato que yo tengo no me sirve como dueño?
Si no está registrado, no se reconoce. A ver, tiene una escritura, pues ya me dijeron que no está registrado.
No está registrado. Pero sí lo notarizamos.
No digo que es ilegal, pero la ciudad tiene que haber algo que ¿quién es? Al dueño es el que se le tiene que dar los permisos.
Yeah.
Pero, señor Lozano, nosotros compramos la propiedad en la subasta. Entonces, en inglés le dicen grandfathered in. Entonces, si la compramos así, así debe de ser, porque cuando nos la venden así.
No, sir.
No, la grandfather no, lo que pasa es que...
No tenemos ni 2 años con ella, ¿verdad?
No, y yo digo que la compraron probablemente ya en condiciones,
Sí.
pero como que es responsabilidad de los dueños de mantener
Sí,
las
señor Lozano,
propiedades.
como él la tiene ahora y como nosotros la compramos, hay una gran diferencia. Pero también hay que ver cuánto podemos meter. Y otra cosa más, la propiedad donde usted dice lo de la demolición del techo, el problema es que ahí hay una división. Y también esta señora, la que tiene la división, ella
No es de acá.
de este lado, es que verdad que hay unos...
Son dos divisiones.
Hay una división, él sabe mejor. Y el problema es que la señora no quiere poner la mitad o algo así. Entonces, si él quiere poner todo, porque la señora ya la va a perder, se debe impuestos.
No entiendo, ¿ese terreno hay dos dueños?
No. La 1705 Sanders tiene 2 direcciones. Es la misma dirección.
Pero es un terreno.
Un terreno, sí. Entonces,
Los dos dueños.
no.
Los
Al medio es half is south y half is north. Pero ahí
The address.
My question is it a lot of record or is it just a divided property?
no, it's just divided. Él compró su
So
parte.
it's not as a, then that
No,
probably has to
no.
go through probably a replat or something.
Yes,
That-
exactly, they have to go through it, yeah.
This is
Bill
half
Clinton.
of lot 8.
Well, we need to establish if it is lots of
Half lot and half
record.
lot.
When was it divided, you know?
Yeah.
This
Yes, that's what I
county,
told him.
city sold it to us, what do you call it, almost about 16 months ago.
And was it divided then?
Yeah. And now she's losing the other one because she doesn't want to pay the taxes.
She has is that a brick building on the left?
No, it's
It's
a
a-
wood side.
The beige wood.
The house is and on the
The
other
problem is the
side.
blue house.
The problem is the one in the corner. This one is not
And then
just the carport, I guess you could say, is in the legal dispute.
Because the property line is supposedly is right
Pero
here.
este siempre es así.
We're supposed to have a public hearing in 3 minutes.
Yes.
So,
So, bueno,
Y aquí componen.
ya les dieron la oportunidad de hablar, we need to move on porque esta junta está larga. Okay, so I need a motion to close and introduce.
I move to close the
Second.
public hearing.
All in favor?
all right.
All right, close and introduce. What is the wishes of the commission?
Do your motion.
Staff recommendation is to have the bond.
To demolish unless they're gonna bring in plans to build, right? Or what are we gonna do?
We need to have, the owner go and pull a demolition permit for the carport. That's what I recommend. Give him 90 days to repair, insulate.
So that's a recommendation from the staff, right?
That's what I
And only
recommend.
because they need to establish ownership too.
Right.
We recommend that because no vas a poder, si tienes que establecer que es tuyo, te recomiendo que vayas al condado y lo proceses
Lo archivas.
para que te podamos dar permiso a ti y no te tengan que dar el permiso, entonces tú nunca vas
Usted
a...
puede ir a registrar esos documentos con el condado que
Sí.
usted tiene derechos a ese condado, a esa
A
propiedad.
esa propiedad. ¿Eso dónde?
What can you do?
El condado de Webb
El que está cruzando la calle.
tiene los archivos de todos los terrenos. Esa es la ley, ¿verdad? Como se debe hacer en Texas. Y por eso se tiene que, si va a comprar un terreno, se tiene que archivar ahí.
Para que usted se protege
Ok.
cuando haya razón y para que pueda sacar el permiso
Sí,
para que
más bien para que
repare.
saque permiso. Porque no le van a
Porque el
dar-
momento que usted termine de componerla, él le puede decir, ¿sabes qué? Thank you, bye, y no puedes hacer nada porque está a nombre de él.
It's really disrespectful,
Y no te podemos dar nada de permisos a usted porque
No para que resulte.
es como si yo voy y digo, quiero a demoler la casa de él y me dan el permiso, pues no, ¿verdad? Es igualito.
Entonces me darían un tiempo en que yo registre esos papeles.
El comité tiene la autoridad, ahorita nomás estaba dando la información, que es la situación ahorita. Los de la ciudad nosotros decimos, si no lo van a arreglar lo tienen que tumbar, ¿verdad? Entonces tumbar o arreglar,
That recommendation
necesita
means that
permiso.
you want to give them the opportunity to fix it up?
I agree because there's already a
Exactly.
purchase. Somebody's gonna buy it.
I make a motion to give him 30 days to establish ownership
Tienes 30 días.
and register,
Para que pongas tu nombre.
30 days to what?
to establish ownership,
Ownership?
so that he can then
¿Eso en cuánto sale? Más o menos, ¿no?
be more educated as to what his options truly are about pulling permits that are necessary for his
No te
project.
sabría decir hasta cuándo puedes estar.
Maybe add even 60 days after that to get the permit.
Agreed. And once he's established ownership within the first 30 days, give him 60 days to obtain his permits for demolition or for remodel or for whatever his wishes may be.
Te van a multar.
Perfecto.
Y te van a dar 60 días después de los 30 días. 60 días para
No,
las
no.
leyes.
We need to vote on it first.
Ok, no le estoy estableciendo lo que.
That's my
So
motion.
that's your motion.
I second.
Esa es la moción.
All in favor?
Ok, so ya votaron lo que discutió aquí el comité, es que le van a dar 30 días para estabilizar que usted pueda tener derechos a sacar permisos. Tiene que ir con el condado, la propiedad se registra para que usted tenga intereses de que es de usted y puedan darle permisos. So le dan 30 días para que haga eso. Entonces le dan otros 60 días para determinar y sacar permiso o tumbarlo o arreglarlo en acuerdo. Si en esos 90 días puede estabilizar que es dueño y sacar permisos, el caso de tumbar la ciudad ya no se mete.
Perfecto.
Pero si no cumplen con eso, la ciudad todavía tiene el derecho de ir y arreglar lo que no está en acuerdo como debe ser el código. Y pues y si la ciudad lo hace, por decirlo, va y lo tumba, van a ponerle, ¿cómo se dice? Una el terreno, de que el costo de lo que la ciudad gastó en tumbarlo con un adicional de 10% de interés. So, no queremos llegar a ese punto. Lo que estamos tratando de hacer es que los dueños reparen todas sus propiedades y la tengan en acuerdo con la ordenanza. Pero eso fue lo que decidió el comité. Tiene 90 días. Aquí puede venir a la ciudad, Mr. Ramírez, Mr. Rosco, Mr. Pinzón o yo, Mr. Lozano, podemos atenderlo.
Perfecto. Entonces, cuando haga eso de poner lo de la propiedad, ya vengo con alguien de aquí o
Va al departamento de permisos
Ok,
para que le puedan darle un permiso.
perfecto. Está muy bien.
Con tus documentos ya de que con la.
Le dieron un total de 90 días.
Está muy bien.
I have a question. Can we modify that to say, okay, 30, 60, and if it doesn't happen within 90 days, no nothing, that we automatically approve demolition?
Yes, you can.
I thought that's what was.
Okay,
That's only
That verbiage wasn't included in there
Oh,
technically, so
okay.
he can add
Technically, so you want to do
an amendment to
an
the
amendment to
motion.
the motion? Okay.
To add that after the 90 days.
After 90 days.
If no,
Si en
not
90 días no
satisfactory,
haces nada,
no permits,
entonces seguimos con el
then
Then-
we're already
then move
moving
to
to
demolish.
Okay.
You second? Larry, Mr. Is everybody in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias, con permiso.
Motion to open J, item J.
Motion to open item J. Consideration and possible action on the property of Deutsche Bank National, care of OCW Loan Servicing, whose legal description is Lot 6, Block 909 Western Division, commonly known as 1801 Baltimore Street. It should say rear. It's the rear structure. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted code. An ordinance of 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Section 16.5521, Section .16.5522, Section 16.5523A, Section 16.5523B, Section 16.552322HI, R, and U. Staff recommends demolition of this structure. This structure is next to a park. It has basically no floor, there's dirt floor. A tree is growing through part of it. If we want to flip through the pictures there,
There's nobody here to speak for or against, or?
anybody here to speak for or against Baltimore?
Baltimore? There was a pedophile in there. There was it's right next to a park.
There's been several, somebody was living there that, it was, is that it?
Yeah, I don't have it.
It's been tagged for many months. Nobody's come forward. Actually, it got foreclosed on. The bank now owns it. It was a foreclosure. So we need to move.
So motion to close public hearing and open.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. I make a motion that we follow staff recommendations for demolition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to open the case K.
Consideration and possible act, sorry. Go ahead. Consideration of possible action on the property of Graciela Z. Gonzalez, deceased, whose legal description is the west 118.9 feet of lot 7 and the north 39.45 feet of lot 8, block 2, Eastern Division, commonly known as 601 Cortez Street. Mr. Pedro Gonzalez is here to speak for this. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Sections 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.552322H, I, R, and U. Staff recommends demolition of this property.
I recommend the back part.
There's a public hearing, and Mr. Gonzalez is here to speak for him.
I was just wondering if we could get about 60 days so that we can knock it down. Because they went and my sister got 3 bids. And the guy that would do it for the cheapest will work on the weekends, so I'm thinking if you can help us out with that, and we can get it done. Also, if I need a permit, because listening to your conversation, how do you get it since half is my sister's, 1/4 is mine, and the other 1/4 is my...
It's a letter.
Let the other read?
Yeah. Yes. Have it notarized. And I'm gonna be clear on it. The front house, that one, that's fine.
Yes. It's the cuartito in the back.
It's the back one, the rear.
What is the intent of that property in the front, though? It's been boarded up for years.
Because then next door, there's a mobile home also, so
Yes.
we're in the process, maybe they're gonna sell the whole thing, but let's start with the cuartito first.
Okay.
Right.
And,
But the intent is to repair the house?
No.
Or what is it?
Get rid of
a big house as well?
We had already placed it on that demolition project, but okay, our councilman never got back to us, and it just was one of those things, but
You're not gonna qualify if that house, if you have ownership problems, because the owners need to voluntarily.
But everybody's on
If
board.
everybody's on board, you
Yes.
need everybody that's to sign off on it.
Yeah, because it used to be a problem with
It
the
may
illegal
not
immigrants.
come.
They would go in there and hide, so it's a problem, but it was my mom's house, so it's...
Sentimental.
No, yeah, but we need to get rid of it, I mean, we want to sell it so somebody can just knock it, everything and do something there.
The intent is to sell the whole property.
Staff recommendation.
But if you can give us that time, so they can work on it and I can work on the permit, and they can start hopefully soon.
Staff recommendation.
Make a motion that we give him the 60 days for him to demolish it back.
Wait, let's
close it.
go ahead, close and introduce.
Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now, what is the wishes of this? Commission, you said
Recommend that we give him 60 days that he needs to demolish it.
Second.
60 days to demolish.
All in favor?
All in favor? Okay. They're giving you 60 days to obtain a demolition permit.
And not.
We're talking about the little small structure in the back.
And with a letter from everybody signing, do I formulate the letter or somebody, so everybody's,
It's gotta be a notarized letter that's saying that all owners are in agreement to obtaining a permit.
And you give him 60 days to get the permit and knock it down.
Okay,
Not
60,
just the permit. And then-
to demolish.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 60 days to demolish.
and remove.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
Because that's that's gonna work with us. Because that's the big problem, they give you a quote, oye, pero te lo vas a llevar al mugrero, ¿verdad? Ah, pues un poquito
That's
más.
another thing, I told you.
Thank you, and we
Thank you,
never
Mr.
saw that,
Gonzalez.
because we never got notices, they went to a different,
What is your, what is the?
I already gave it to him.
You already gave it? Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
We go by what's on the tax roll.
Unfortunately, the law says whoever the owner is, whatever the webcat says, that's the address that we,
The service.
as long as we do that, we're complying with the ordinance.
yes, okay. Bueno, so we're good.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Motion to open item M.
Second.
No, it's L, right?
L.
L.
I'm sorry, was that
That was K.
K? My bad. Item L.
Item L. Okay.
Second. All in favor?
All in favor? Aye, okay. All right, consideration of possible action on the property of Viola R. Ramos deceased, whose legal description is Lot 7, Block 181, Western Division, commonly known as 309 Washington Street. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance, 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Sections 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.552322HI, 16.55232R, 16.55232U. What does staff recommend? We're talking about what, the demolition of what structure? There's three?
There's three. I recommend the one behind the,
This is on the corner of Washington and sign what?
that one, I don't recommend the store, because the owners want to repair it and sell it. And all it needs to do is to fix the roof. The one behind it, even though it's,
That one.
that one is a fire hazard.
Okay.
And he agreed, and
Is there a third structure there?
behind the, well, it's on the west side, right.
Is that one okay?
That was all right. They live there.
Anybody else speak in favor or against this?
They came the last couple of meetings, unfortunately, we couldn't do any action last month, and then the month before, there was no quorum. They did come, they wanted to obtain a permit to demolish that structure, so, but they haven't come in. So, have they come in for a permit to demolish?
So it's, right now it's an open,
I'm just speaking, I guess,
And it's a
in
roof
favor of
totally
it.
covering the store that Jet drive in, or is it open bats and birds can't get in?
That one is.
The roof is in bad shape, but, we don't know what the structure is of that,
But
the
it's,
structure.
the cinder block is it's structurally sound.
And do they give you a time frame?
But even if they fix it, I don't know if we would be able to allow them to
I would-
function because of dead end parking.
I would recommend giving them 90 days for them to start something.
To get a permit?
Because back in the day when I started again, 15, 18 years ago, that was one of the structures I red tagged, and there were several red tags there.
And one of the issues too is that they, they've been coming to the meetings, but they really haven't done anything.
No, I'm saying, no, but.
Nothing in dinero.
So, we're speaking
But what if it
in
gets
favor
started
of
there? No tengo dinero.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's another thing.
So,
Okay. So there's nobody here for that?
there's nobody here, so we need to close and introduce.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any motions regarding action on this property?
I would make a motion that we follow staff recommendation of demolishing the wood structure, but also put a requirement that the storefront get a building permit and get fixed within 90 days.
Within 90 days?
Good.
I second that.
You
All in
second
favor?
that?
Aye.
If not,
Sign motion carries.
demolition.
We go back.
With not
Is that,
demolition, yes.
not in demolition? Okay.
Yes, sir.
No fixing.
Sorry. Motion to proceed to item M.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let me read through this real quick. This item actually obtained a permit already to repair. There's
talked to
actually
me.
three structures on that property. They've obtained one permit and they're moving forward to do it. But let me go ahead and open it. Consideration of possible action on the property of Juan Antonio Salinas and Maria del Socorro, whose legal description is Lot 10, Block 66, Western Division, commonly known as 103 San Jorge Avenue. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Sections 16.55 to 1, 16.55 to 2, 16.55 to 3A, 16.55 to 3B, 16.55 to 3 to HIRNU. Staff recommended demolition of this structure. Again, I state they've already obtained a permit. It's nobody to repair.
They called, no, wait. They called me, and I talked to them, and because what they're doing and how they're doing it, they're fixing it up. They pulled a permit for an electrical pole, okay? And they're rewiring and repairing, bringing it up to code, one house. Once they're done with that one, they're gonna move the pole and get their electrical on the other two that are left.
The three structures.
See, so three little tiny structures, but they are compliant and they cleaned up the lot. And actually, because I did the inspections when they were doing they were building a house in front, it was all full of needles and those ladies have cleaned it up and cleaned up everything. And gotten all those attics out of there. So I would recommend to table this.
And they got a power pole, and they're gonna be moving down the property, but like how much time? Because if the other ones are still in really bad substandard.
Actually, they like I said, they cleaned them up, they fixed them, they secured them, they're secured. It's amazing what they did as what it was. I couldn't
It's
even
cleaned
go
up.
there.
I passed by there yesterday. It cleaned up. It got cleaned up, but again, they only pull a permit for one structure.
At a time.
And their intent is to pull out permits for the others. And so.
In your opinion, the other two structures?
They're good. Maybe about 3 months, that's probably what they're gonna take, or less, because the houses are tiny.
But in
And
your
they're good,
opinion,
I trust them.
in
Because I've
your
worked with them
opinion, the
before.
structures that they haven't been pulling a permit for, they are structurally okay, they're not a hazard right now?
What happens
Yeah,
is this
yeah,
property got sold.
okay.
This property recently got sold, so the actual owner that we named actually sold it to somebody else that deals with construction and repairing of houses, so.
Staff is saying that they're secured now, so then I'd be okay
Yes,
with
I'm
it.
okay with them, because I've worked with them many times, and they're pretty good. And no batallo.
So staff recommendation is that we give them
To drop, actually,
to table it.
To table it to, up to when?
yeah.
Or table it
Indefinitely, because they're gonna fix them.
if they, okay.
I know they're gonna fix them, I know these people. They
If not, you put
rent
it back
out,
on the agenda.
and I will go back and
Okay.
take it again.
So,
But.
but how, up to when?
Let's give 90 days.
Yes.
I make a motion to table
We
it for
need-
90 days.
Let's close and introduce.
Motion to close public hearing?
Oh, it's public?
Yeah.
So we have to have a public.
Motion to close here?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So now, we can do a recommendation.
I make a recommendation or a motion that we agree to table this for 90 days.
Table this for 90 days, okay. Is there a
I
second?
second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to open item N as amended.
Consideration of possible action on the property of Minerva Rodriguez Peo, whose legal description is lots 1 and 3, block 341 Western Division, commonly known as 1901 Main. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, Article 1, Section 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Sections 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.5523H, I, R, and U. Staff recommends demolition of this structure. We're talking about rear, actually, and this has been on our books for a while. It's been vacant for several years. Oh, anyway, is anybody here to speak for or against? Maine? Okay. So this property is a mobile home. There's actually a house in the front of the property, and this is not repairable.
So we're gonna have to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so public hearing is closed. What is the wishes of the commission?
My recommendation is demolition.
Staff
Mobile
recommendation.
home is not,
Repairable. Motion to,
I'll make the motion for staff recommendation for demolition.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
And finally,
Motion to open up final item O.
Second? All-
That is acceptable, I'll make a second, whatever.
thank you. All right, so consideration of possible action on the property of Jessica Herrera and Juan Antonio Herrera, whose legal description is the south 37.23 feet of lots 1 and the south half of lot 8, block 335 Eastern Division, commonly known as 2707 Sanders Avenue. Ms. Jessica Herrera, owner, is present. Staff declares this property as a nuisance in accordance with the current adopted ordinance 2013-0025, Section 1, Sections 24-1.4, Chapter 16, Code of Ordinances, Sections 16.5521, 16.5522, 16.5523A, 16.5523B, 16.5523H, I, R, and U. Staff recommends demolition of the structure. This is a public hearing. Ms. Herrera.
So, well, we had applied for the Operation Crackdown, so that's what we're waiting for to see.
So is it, did it qualify?
We don't know yet.
Is it on the list? Because it's already closed. Is it on the current list? I know there was one on Sanders.
It is on the list,
yes, that one was on it, but it
Let me
was
see.
27, this is 17.
Some confirmation.
It's the one that's falling to the street.
Again, let me see.
He didn't come, he had to work.
It is on the list for demolition for Operation Crackdown. It is one of the 21 properties that's on the list, and it is confirmed.
So did we have the public hearing yet?
This is the public
Okay.
hearing. I'm just giving it.
Okay.
It's still not a guarantee. Hopefully, you are on the list. It should, but I won't know that for another couple weeks. About a week and a half.
Because I had asked, they told me that they would probably let us know by the end of August to see.
Yeah, it's because it's still at the discretion of the National Guard.
Yeah.
So it meets all the criteria. So if the National Guard doesn't, I mean, I would say they would, but if in the event that it doesn't, it's been vacant, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and my dad passed away in April last year, but he used to live there, but it wasn't like that.
yeah,
But
are people getting in there, do you know? Because there's still a meter there.
Yes, they have we don't have
But
the
this
light, they just went and cut the wire for the light. They didn't
Yes.
take the meter or anything, they just went and, no, it's, I thought they were gonna take the meter or something, but they just went and cut the line and they
Yes,
left.
yes.
And honestly, I can't say if people go in or not because the door is on this side and my house is on the other side, so I don't know. And there's a
But
lot
you
of-
already signed a waiver to demolish it already, for the Operation
yes,
Crackdown.
yes.
So you've already said, go ahead and knock it down.
Yeah, because there's no,
And if they don't, if Operation Crackdown doesn't accept it,
Then the city can move forward to demolish it. We could still give the owner option to do it themselves,
Okay.
that, you know, if
because
they
that's
so
what,
want
that's
to.
what we had intended to do, like, do it on our own.
uh-huh.
But then they told me about the Operation Crackdown, and that's why, as soon as they told us, we went and signed the paper and everything, me and my brother.
Okay.
Close up.
Motion to close public hearing, unless you have anything else?
No,
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to demolish the structure as per staff recommendation, should Operation Crackdown not approve it under their purview.
Your second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
All in favor?
We always say.
This is the wrong one.
Except for the other one.
Last time was
Hold on, let me-
short.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye,
Can we stop recording?
thank you.
Can you?
This is a great one.
I think he said